Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Namaste. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Uh, we begin page 193 was the last. We went into this, all our texts, somehow they address this subject, which is the benefit of self-knowledge, which must be addressed, emphasized as well, because that's what motivates every human being. And then here, according to the story, Indra, and not only Indra, but everyone who got this knowledge, is glorified as adorable people. So no yani worth this title is searching for self-knowledge and moksha because they want to be loved. It's the last thing that crossed the mind of a potential yani. The last thing. What crossed the mind of a potential yani is first the love for the truth. And then second, the desire to remove the psychological suffering which is inherent to the human experience. So I see as these two motivations, these two forces, a love for the truth and the desire to get free from suffering. But anyhow, interestingly enough, the Kenu presents this thing about the yani, it's adorable. Bhagwan is adorable even by the devas. And then he goes about elaborating a little bit on that. This title, Tadvanam, which indicates to the adorable one. And so we worship God because we get everything from God. Therefore, it must be the most loved, the most appreciated by every intelligent human being. And then every intelligent human being will feel like inclined to give something back to God. Of course, something that gives everything to us. We are all people who, with good manners, if anything, we want to give something back to God. So what we give to him is something very simple. We just decide to help God to sustain the Dharma field by interacting, transacting with the Dharma field, observing God's principles and laws, among the most important, the ethic, moral laws. Therefore, meditate upon Ishvara as the most adorable. The Upanishad gives the benefit of this upasana, and it says if you come to the end of this process, you will get worldly benefit as well, like Arjuna. Arjuna was being seduced by Lord Krishna to fight the war so that he would get several benefits. Winning the war, he would be the Dharma Raja. He would be the most powerful and the most appreciated being because it has reestablished the Dharma. But on the spiritual level, which is the more profound layer of Bhagavad Gita, it would get a different kind of benefit, which is love and appreciation for those around him. because they understand that this person is not only the best warrior, but he is a very wise human being. It has how you know that he is a very wise human being, because not only by observing one's behavior, one's personality, one's character, but observing his what comes out of his mouth as well, his knowledge, his balance, his wisdom. So therefore, she become adorable by most people. Not everybody. Some people are going to hate you because you become wise and lovable, like rarely. Yeah, you find. And someone said there are two types of people. One group of people is contacting others to extract happiness, and there is another who is just transpiring happiness and therefore touching the hearts of the other people as if they would be giving happiness. Therefore, Bhagwan is the most adorable, and this meditation, this upasana should be understand how adorable. If you want to love, if you want to develop love in your heart, so try to love God. It's not that simple because it requires a complex understanding in regards to what God is, so that you can learn to love God. Otherwise, people say, how can I love God if it's so cruel? There is so much injustice in this world, and so on. He is not only love and compassion. He is also evil sometimes. Oh, so you need to get a very, very profound understanding of the nature of God. And then you're going to love that which gives us everything. Among those everything, our parabada. And sometimes the parents have to punish the children. No? Love God, adore God, worship God. And as the result of this upasana, you're going to be appreciated by others as well, because you're going to become purified, refined. You're going to become a beautiful person. And not only that, because that is a side effect, a small bonus, you will be getting the qualifications required for self-inquiry and self-knowledge. So this is the fourth upasana. The verse number 7, the disciples said, okay, I want it. I want teach me, sir, the Upanishad. And then the guru replied, oh my God, we are here on the 4th chapter, and I have told you everything about the Upanishad and the nature of Brahman. So, have you now heard me? So Swami says that this mantra makes a statement that looks a joke, but it has a deeper meaning as well. According to Shankaracharya, we can always find deeper levels on those small stories in the Puranas. So what is the deeper level here? The teacher has taught the teaching in the 1st and 2nd chapter, but later on presents in the 3rd and 4th a story which is still is an instrument in which the Upanishad knowledge is presented as well. So everything about the teachings on the nature of Brahman was already presented. The teaching is over, but now the students say, hey, I don't know, but I need more. Teach me again, Brahman. It's so common, this. How many times Arjuna, through the Gita, says, please teach me no. And I had a question, teach me again, tell me, explain again. This is the dynamic between guru and disciple, because we know that the knowledge can at times be clearly understood, but not easily retained, or more precise, often subject to forgetfulness. It's not the disciple was sleeping during the class. The person is there, is making an effort to assimilate the teachings. And the student may be even nodding his head or her head as a sign of appreciation to the teacher and the teaching. And more often than not, the student asks, so please teach me again the Upanishad. The guru says, out of compassion, okay, okay, here it goes again. The teacher does not even say here it goes again, because the teacher does not want to make anybody feel a little bit behind, you know. So in my play as a teacher here in Brazil, I have people studying with me for so many years, still asking the same questions. I never make them feel that they are not really getting anything, you know. You just present the teaching again as if it's a new question and a very relevant question, exalting the question and the questioners, and never making the students laughing. What is the expression? A laughing stock? Stuck?
Laughing stock, yeah.
So the bottom line here is the teaching was presented. Now Guruji has to talk a little bit more. He's not going to start the same Kenopanishad from the scratch. He will say, oh, you go back, do some homework, start the first and the second chapter, come back to me with your doubts. That is how it should go. But there are a lot of student disciples that do not like to do homework. They don't have time, they don't have focus, and they want to get the knowledge every time. And then if questions, doubts are there, they try to present it during the Shravanam. So there goes more Brahma Vidya, Upanishad in the form of knowledge of Brahman. Because of Sandhi rule, it has already been taught. So if you split it, it will be there to you. I did not follow this part. Doesn't matter. It's there, the first and second chapter. It's printed because of Sandhi rule. Did you find out what it could the Sandhi rule point to?
I think he's just talking about grammar.
Thank you. Shankaracharya takes it as a meaningful question. Yes, you see? Exactly. Let me highlight this one. Like every proper teacher takes as meaningful question. And he says, is the Upanishad teaching complete? Can this Brahma Vidya itself give liberation, or should Brahma Vidya be combined with personal effort, which include Kama Yoga, Dhamma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, disciplines, and so on? So every time the student asks, so teach me all over again. So after some time, the guru must present this concept and say, oh, you have been around the block for a while, so you have gone through several of these texts and teachings. So if it is not really assimilated and retained, it means you need to requalify according to the concept given by Swami Dayananda. by improving your understanding of karma dharma, living from that perspective of wisdom, and doing some upasana to refine your mind, bring it to one-pointedness and expansion, subtlety. And then these teachings on Brahman are going to be retained by you in due time. So preparedness must be there. Can knowledge give liberation by itself? Only knowledge can give liberation, but it requires preparedness. Karma, upasana, and so on. Is the technical question that Shankaracharya takes from this interaction, this last question of the student in Kena. Technical question, yes. According to the Guru, Jnana by itself can give a liberation, but from the standpoint of the disciple, Jnana will give liberation only if the disciple is qualified. Karma, dharma, and upasana are not required for liberation. For liberation, you only need jnana yoga. Then you don't mean to say that karma and upasana are useless. No, karma and upasana are required, but only to prepare the mind. This is the concept we know. Our large sangha of 3, 4, 5, we know for many years. Once the preparation is properly established, and then self-knowledge becomes an easy sailing, as they say. An easy sailing or sailing. As far as liberation is concerned, knowledge and knowledge alone is sufficient. That's the message. Again, it reminds me of Nisargadatta Maharaj, because he had a bad temper, kind of character. Sometimes he would get a little bit mad. And they say, how can you not get it? I'm here saying these things and you don't get it. Get out of here. Especially if people are dressed up with red clothes and with the mala of Bhagwan Rajneesh, like I used to have. He used to chase them away from his small apartment. But our Mahatmas, the Mahatmas in our Sampradaya, will explain and say, okay, we have the teachings that are going to help you to qualify as well. So don't go anywhere. Stay with it. Stay with us. And then the number 8, the Guru starts saying austerity, self-restraint, and sacrificial rites are its feet, and the Vedas, its limb, and Jnana Yoga, the knowledge of satya, truths, it's abode. Yeah? So it's a very nice construct presenting the entire Vedantic process, beginning from disciplines, observance of Dharma, living according to Dharma, developing a certain attitude in respect to our actions and results. Gratitude and devotion must develop as well. And then what you have, a solid foundation on which, your self-knowledge is raised or built up. And then it also says that the sacrificial rites are its feet. I want to see what Swami says regarding to the sacrificial rites. And the Vedas, its limbs. No. Self-restraint and all the sacrificial rites are its base, its foundation. And then the Vedic teachings, which means Kama Yoga, Dhamma Yoga, the limbs, and Yana Yoga, it's abode. Yeah, that's the meaning. 3 levels, as we know. So the initial is you become a religious person, you go into the section of the Vedas dedicated to rituals, ceremonies, and a lot of pujas and doing things to get things of this world and getting even punya. And then after that, you become a very sophisticated religious spiritual person because you became a karma yogi. Yeah. And then in the end, the Veda Anta is going to give you the Atma Yana. Upasana has been taught. Upasana means meditation. Dhyana, meditation, was given in the 3 symbols. It's not compulsory that we should use these symbols, you know. We can do for Upasana or anything, including Ishtadev. So any symbol can help us. Okay, these symbols, they are subtle, they are beautiful, but one has to be very much immersed into the canon, into more specific in this story presented in the canon, so that you can contextualize your symbol of upasana. Okay, so remembering the story and so on. So there are numberless beautiful symbols. Symbols must be symbols symbolizing the nature of Saguna Nirguna God. And then you say even is the devata. So even a symbol of Krishna or anything, you know. So by practicing any one of these, focusing, meditation, using whatsoever form or symbol, we have to prepare our mind in the form of focus and expansion. Okay, so one-pointedness is the result of meditation, and not only one-pointedness, but the mind becomes subtler and subtler as it begins to meditating on symbols which are subtler and subtler, you understand? Such as the nature of Brahman, the attributeless Brahman, or even Saguna Brahman in the form of just space, or Saguna Brahman in the form of the Ananda, the reflection of Nirguna Atma in this meditative, contemplative, sattvic mind. So any one of these very subtle symbols requires a subtle, purified, sophisticated, refined mind. And you get that in the process of focusing and making, in the process, the mind subtler, using more and more subtle symbols. And the mind expands as well, becoming, developing more and more wider, larger vision of the nature of Nirguna Saguna, Nirguna Brahman, let's say, or Saguna Ishvara. Whatever kind of upasana you talk, the purpose is expansion and focus. So we require focusing capacity. Why? And we require mental expansion as well, because the ultimate knowledge is Aham Brahmasmi. Aham Brahmasmi is the most subtle of the knowledge, the most counterintuitive knowledge, the most absurd knowledge, abstract. So, and you need to have a mind that has become so subtle that it can understand and conceptualize and hold that vision of something which is free from attributes, yet the only reality. So the mind has to be so subtle and has to expand in subtlety to develop a larger and wider picture of the true nature of reality. The ultimate knowledge is Tattvamasi. Yes, Aham Brahmasmi. And then if the mind has not God. I mean, you may not have a refined, expanded mind, subtle mind, but you may have a very focused mind because you have been using a symbol for your upasana for a lifetime, and now you can bring your mind to that symbol and you stay there for days. You understand? But if you are asked to bring it to a very subtle symbol, you cannot because your mind is still gross. You understand? The mind has become very subtle, holding on to symbols which are extremely subtle. Contemplate notions and concepts and logic that are extremely subtle. The ultimate teaching are these declarations of identity that requires a very refined, very expensive mind and with an ability of focus as well. A gross and narrow mind, you see narrow mind rather than expanded mind, a narrow mind cannot accommodate these symbols, these declarations, aham brahmasmi. The mind is too narrow, it's too gross. It has to expand. As it expands, it becomes subtler and more contemplative, more focused in a proper way. Therefore, all kinds of upasanas will give focus, yes, but you never forget that you also need to expand your mind, making it very subtle so that you can go into the most subtle of all inquiries present at the end of all Vedas, the declarations of identity. Therefore, upasana can only prepare the mind, it cannot give liberation. Upasana must be followed by Jnana Yoga, as presented in these two chapters. Now, in this portion now, the Upanishad says Upasana Yoga, according to explanation of Shankaracharya, I guess, Upasana Yoga is not enough, as we know. Upasana Yoga without Jnana Yoga and self-inquiry is just halfway there. It's incomplete. So upasana, now here he say that upasana is not enough because you need to observe Dharma, living a good lifestyle, okay? You can do a lot of upasana, but yet you are not contributing to Ishvara. You are not contributing to the field of interaction, to the world. You are not having a devotional, loving, reverential attitude towards God. So you may be a grihastha, but you may not serving, not even your family properly. You understand? And you may do your meditations, but your attitude, the Kama Yoga comes with a certain fragrance, which is the fructification of all this spiritual development, devotion, love to God. If you love God, you're going to be more lovable towards others as well and all living creatures. Family is only, family then becomes very narrow and your attitude of love and devotion and service must go to the entire world. This you gain by studying and assimilating and living from the perspective of Karma Dhamma Yoga. So that's Grihashrama is for Kama Yoga. Yeah, Kama Yoga must be a Grihastha because it needs activity so that they can be converted into spiritual sadhana. And then the next ashrama, which is Vana Prashna Prastha ashrama, is for Upasana Yoga. Means to say, according to those four ashramas, in the beginning, you're getting prepared to go in society. And then the second, you go in society and you have to have a spiritual religious attitude, you understand karma, yoga, and dharma. The third one, you are retiring, and then you go into study and meditation, and then you do a lot of upasana. And sannyasa ashrama within that structure is for contemplation on the final declarations of identity. You see, everything is structured in a way that one naturally developed these qualifications if we would be living in an idle kind of society. Therefore, we have to go through Kama Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Dhamma Yoga, Yana Yoga. Kama Yoga is for refinement of the mind, removal of selfishness, very nice. That self-centeredness, that me, and myself alone, and the most my children, and if I still love my wife as well, I can include there. But selfishness is incredible impurity. It's very, very, very powerful impurity, which is ahamkara, mamakara, must gradually be diluted. That you dilute only by serving the society, serving the people around you, the creatures, respecting, loving God, symbolized by the creatures around you. Does karma refine the mind, refines the intellect? Kama Yoga is mentioned here as well. In those, in this verse number 8. Kama Yoga can refine the mind but cannot give liberation. Never forget that. Upasana Yoga will help to expand and focus the mind, but cannot give liberation. Once you have a focused and expand mind, and then only then you can follow the teachings of the Upanishads with prepared mind. I mean, the concepts profound, subtle, and one has to hold one's attention for a certain span of time, so that you get the whole picture. You understand the logic and so on. Focus must be there. A distract mind cannot go through this process. It's impossible. Therefore, you have to go through karma, dhamma, upasana, and then you have to go through yana yoga. Sequential combination of these yogas is the entirety of the spiritual journey. Sequential combination, not simultaneous. Simultaneous, because when you do a Kama Yoga, you cannot do Yana Yoga. It does not mean to say that, okay, then I'm going to structure my life, I'm going to do 5 years of only Kama Yoga, and then 5 years of Upasana, and then 5 years of Shabbat. No. At a certain moment, okay, your mind can only hold one effort, one thought, one concept at the time. So when you interact with the world, be a good Kama Yogi, because if you stay there saying Aham Brahmasmi, none of this is real, none of this is real, I'm Satya, this is mithya, and so on, you are not going to be a good Kama Yogi. You're not going to offer your response in harmony with the Dharma, because you say there is no Dharma structure, this is all mithya. So one thing at a time, not simultaneously. Combination of these 3 yogas is going to complete the journey. Veda never gives choice among these 3 yogas. All the 3 are compulsory for all people. You have to combine them, not, again, he's highlighting, not simultaneously. But you can play with all of this, okay? Do some upasana, do some Shravana and mananam, and when you really interact, hold the knowledge, perspective of wisdom given by the Gita, the Kama Yoga teachings of the Gita. So you just, according to the situation, you do what seems to be most fit, you feel most inclined to do. That's all it means here. So in theory, first half of your life, you should be dominated by karma yoga, because the body is fit, and then you have a lot of energy. You have to use that energy not stupidly, but wisely. Then you need to become a religious person to understand your relationship with God and and live according to its laws and principles. So the body is young, so you can do many things. So later on, when you're 50 years old or more, it's better for you to do upasana. You are not under the tyranny of Raja Guna compelling you of doing things right and left, because youth come with that tendency. Therefore, you don't have much possibility of doing production around the natural. You are 8 years old. The knees is there fading, giving in. And so just do that kind of activities if you feel inclined when you are young and unwise. So therefore, body is also designed for this structure. First, karma pradhana, life. After retirement, upasana. And then after that, you become a quote-unquote sannyasi. You start the Vedanta. Generally speaking, we present the entire process, as karma, upasana, and jnana. But here the Upanishad goes in reverse order. Now, karma is said to be the first. If you want to receive the wisdom, retain the wisdom. So he's just saying that there is no contradiction with the other text, to my view. The teaching was presented because the Upanishads present the teachings the other way around, presents the ultimate Aham Brahmasmi, and then slowly comes back and say, okay, but you need the other sadhanas to prepare, so that since you are telling me, teach me it again, so you need to go back and do karma, dharma, upasana, so that you can receive, assimilate, and retain this wisdom. The supportive sadhanas are compulsory, even though you are already deep into the waters of Jnana Yoga. You need to observe a life of discipline, religious discipline. I love this, religious discipline. Getting up in the morning, giving thanks for another day, another opportunity. Enjoy the sunrise. They give a lot of importance on getting up early and not going to bed too late. It's healthier for the mind, for the body. It's easier for us. So getting up early in the morning during sunrise or before is also part of it, especially for these sannyasis in India. Sensory restraint. So we need to somehow discipline our vasanas. We are a bag with a huge load of vasanas. That's how we come into this life. We are a byproduct of our vasana load. Vasana load is going to design a new birth with a certain culture, context, and the paravada. So we need to understand that discipline is absolutely necessary for us to control the beast. Otherwise, we're going to be, tyrannically driven by our vasanas. Never allow these vasanas to become habits that later on become addictions, and by repeated indulgence. So just have the willpower and the understanding that it must be born with some of us, this tendency to say, no, I have to swim against the the current of samsara, and I cannot indulge on these tendencies that are making me fall spiritually. I cannot be a slave of this system, vasanas and then desires to do and experience certain things. I want to be the master of this system, not a slave. This sensory restraint is called the Dhamma. It's one of those disciplines. Especially in the form of Pancha Maha Yajana, prescribed by the Shastras, which is called Niskama Karmani. So you're going to be a karmi yogi that does actions which are fundamentally niskama actions, the actions not just self-centered for you and you alone. So all of that has to be observed as a byproduct of becoming a good karmi yogi. We go through a lot of activities. It's very rare to find someone who just walk away from these tendencies at early age. So most of us, we go through activities because we want to fulfill our personal desires, deluded by the power of Maya, suggesting that if I get this and that, I may feel wonderful and complete. That is instinctive. It's part of this cosmic ignorance, and we don't know who to blame for that. Pursuit of money, pursuit of happiness by having another person, pleasure, to do it. All of this is subconscious, instinctively subconscious. The Shastra need not teach. That Shastra has to teach is Dharma, a life of contribution. So we are not here to study psychology to understand how human beings are programs, and they are programmed by genetic and culture, past life and culture and interaction with the values of society. We need to understand Dharma and Karma, become religious person, and as Dayananda beautifully say, do not be a consumer, be a consumer and a contributor. But most people, like James used to say, wants to extract value without giving value back. Therefore, niskama karma, which is sattva guna karma, dharmic karma, is said to be karma yogi. So all of that is necessary to prepare the mind. Later on, you're going to be able to receive and retain the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Otherwise, you receive the teachings the moment that you take your sandals on and go back to your life. Teachings gone. So Swamiji, Dayananda, let's see another example of Swami. Somebody wants to light a fireplace, and for that he had to bring a burning charcoal from the neighbor. He wants to get that burnt charcoal in some container, but did not find the container anywhere. So he took it on newspaper, and what happened? You may be able to understand it, but you cannot keep it. So you got the knowledge, but you cannot keep it. The same way somebody got the charcoal, which was lit, burning charcoal, and not having a means to hold it, it brought in a newspaper, and the newspaper caught fire, and he couldn't really hold the charcoal. That's a very nice analogy. Similarly, the knowledge will come in the class and it will go away. If it has to stay, spiritual inquiry must be complemented with religious discipline, religious and spiritual. Religion and spirituality are complementary. So, Pratishta is the foundation, Veda, Sarva, Agnya. So, who can you tell me Pratishta? I don't remember, Lynn or Mark.
Just means foot.
Again?
Feet.
Feet.
F-O-O-T, foot, feet.
Okay. The foundation we have seen, and then the Veda, Sarva, which is the central, I would say, the feet, and then the limbs, and the four Vedas are the head. That means spiritually study. So scripture study and religious life, all of them are the foundation. That is why generally there is practice. After you complete the Upanishad study, they will generally read the first mantra and end. Okay. Only then we say Om Tat Sat, thus they will conclude. The idea is Gita is not for one-time study, but we come to the end of this process remembering Gita, remembering the Karma Yoga teachings, because we are still in a body living in this mithya order, and we need to hold the teachings of the Gita, not underestimate it. You have to keep on remembering the base and everything. Upanishad also have finished. They also mean for finish they have to go through Shravana and mananam and nididhyasanam. All of this is going to support what? Support your moksha at the end. And along all the disciplines, what is the most important? Satyam, the last one. Satyam means what? No, he's talking about one of these qualifications, one of these traits of personality, which is integrity, honesty, uprightness, truthfulness, absence of lies, and that makes one kind of double personality or split personality. Absence of hidden agenda trying to manipulate others and situations. That honesty, transparent life is called satyam, a life truth, lived based on the truth. So all of this comes with this process of wisdom, which brings us to self-knowledge, and this process of living a life based on truth and truth alone, it grows. All those residual impurities that would make us to say a little half-truths or half-lies here and there, all of this slowly fades, you understand? And one lives a life not allowing for any manipulation, any hidden agenda, anything. You're just being transparent with people. This is a lifestyle called satyam. All the Upanishad emphasize the value of truthfulness, honesty, integrity. You don't need to say the truth all the time. Your truth, because your opinion is just an opinion. It may be centered in absolute truth to you, but others may not want to see it, listen to it, hear it. It may offend others, So you just stay with the most important thing, which is your honesty, your integrity as you act. And then if by your actions it becomes transparent that what is truth for you may not be truth for the other, so be it. Yeah, but we don't need to say and impose it on anybody unless we come to a point that we need to expose hidden agendas and lies in spite of maybe losing most of your friends or our friends, What is Mundaka Upanishad mantra? Do you remember? It has taken by our government. Satyam, truth alone wins, is the general statement of the Mundaka, which was taken away by the Indian government. Truth alone wins. Truth alone wins. And then Swamiji says that we have added something more. Truth alone wins moksha. Only truth alone wins moksha. Truth is not going to win success for any politician in whatsoever place in this planet. Politicians, they can never have this level of integrity and truthfulness. Never. They cannot. Otherwise, they are not going to be a politician. So when we say truth alone wins moksha, because truth is only good for spiritual growth, not for getting rich in the world. That's why I don't trust millionaires. I don't trust billionaires. I will never trust a billionaire. Never. No, I mean, regardless of how often some people in the alternative media try to protect this billionaire or that billionaire, they are not all evil. I don't trust any of these guys. But truth alone wins moksha. Politicians, they don't even know what moksha is, but with moksha, what do you want? You want to be prosperous and famous in the world, and then don't go for moksha, because for moksha, you're going to have to be truthful, and that is going to expel you from the environment in which those environments where you grow a lot of money and power and prestige in the world. Okay. And then so I'm saying, yesterday in our class, I was asking someone, are you telling the truth? Do you speak the truth? The person replied, I speak the truth as well, but meaning to say not only the truth. I speak truth also as well, a little bit of truth I speak. Oh, and then you know how to speak truth, but do you speak only the truth? Satyam, truth, reality, is the enclosure in which the Upanishad is protected. So beautiful. Let me highlight as well. Satya is the enclosure in which the Upanishad is protected. If that's not there, the Upanishad will be encroached and will die. Unbelievably beautiful. Now, Kenopanishad is complete. Jnana Yoga is complete. Upasana, everything is there. It's one package with everything. Not that we have gone deeply into Dharma and Karma, but it was mentioned that if you did not learn, assimilate, and held these teachings, you need to revisit the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, just to conclude, what is a spiritual journey? Karma Yoga plus Upasana Yoga plus Karma Yoga, observance of Dharma, which is built into Karma Yoga, Upasana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, plus values in the spiritual journey. These values and the attitude of the Kama yogi, which brings about devotion, is the common ground through one's four phases of Kama, Dhamma, Upasana, and Jnana Yoga, values and devotion. Even if you don't care for moksha, Kama Yoga and Upasana and values and devotion is compulsory for being a happy person, a happy religious person. In Hinduism, you must be a good Kama yogi and Upasana yogi. Follow the three yogas, that's good. Jnana Yoga and moksha is optional, but at least follow the three and elevate yourself. If a person says, I do not want moksha, so good, so be it. Jnana Yoga is meant only for those people who value the ultimate truth as one's primary goal in life. Very nice. And now, since the teaching is complete, the Upanishad gives the last verse, which is phalas rutih. So it's going to be about what is the fruits, the sweet fruits that comes with moksha. He who knows this Upanishad shakes off all impurities and becomes firmly established in the infinite and the highest heaven. Okay, I was suspecting we were not going to finish. So there is just a few pages. But since we are all busy people, I'm very busy these days, we're going to leave it for next Monday. Next Monday, we wrap it up. And then we go back to the Bhagavad Gita. We stayed with the Bhagavad Gita for some time, because the Gita is, I don't need to prep the class or read the text before our class, because I have gone through these teachings a few times. And I need to begin put my mind into the Kena in Portuguese language for my Carnival seminar in Brazil. Okay. Anything else? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next Monday. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Alinda. This has been amazing, this Kena Upanishad. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, I enjoyed, and I'm going to enjoy Portuguese language soon again. Namaste. Next Monday.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay.